Yes, the 2010s in F1 started with a dominant Red Bull and ended with a very dominant Mercedes. And well, not a lot else happened. It was a very stable year, you could call it, where we practically got the same winners in Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel. I mean, they won 9 out of the 10 championships and arguably should have been 10 out of 10. So yeah, but they're still worse than quality races. And in today's video, I'm going to look at the top 10 races from 2010 to 2019. Not because it was the most previous decade and we haven't had any races this decade yet, but because it was the year I started watching F1 in 2010. So I've watched pretty much all the races since then, and it's time for me to judge which were the best and which were the worst. So let's get straight into it. Number 10, the 2014 Hungarian GP. Now with the track transitioning from wet to dry constantly, this was always going to be a banger of the race. But more importantly, a hard-charging Daniel Ricciardo at his best was what made the race so exciting, who said better late than never once he secured his second career win in a dying lap of the race. What a quality race this was. Yes, a classic duel in the desert. 3 races into F1's new turbo hybrid era, and F1 fans were treated to an absolute classic as Mercedes pair Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg, surely aware that one of them would be world champion, knocked 7 bells out of each other around the Bahrain International Circuit, with Hamilton eventually coming out on top. In the final laps, they were lapping 3 seconds a lap faster than any other car. Rosberg on the soft tyres, Hamilton on the mediums. Many would say Rosberg should have won that race, but Hamilton's brilliant defensives helped him out, and he had just about hung on to win the race with Rosberg's tyres dying in the final laps. Number 8, the 2010 Australian GP. Either the first or second race of the decade, I don't know. Jenson Button silenced his critics, winning his second race for McLaren. Must have been second then, because otherwise he couldn't have won 2 races on a shot. Just reading the script. Jenson Button silenced his critics by winning his second race for McLaren in changeable conditions at Albert Park, overcoming carnage that saw rivals Mark Webber, Fernando Alonso, Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel all suffering problems. Fun fact, this was my first F1 race that I ever watched live, so I certainly became a fan for life after this. What a brilliant race. Number 7, the 2018 German Grand Prix. 2 Ferraris at the front with 25 laps to go. After title rival Lewis Hamilton's car broke down in qualifying. There's only one way this is heading. Certainly one of F1's most straightforward GPs. But somebody at Hockenheim must have prayed for incredibly hard rain, which they got, and caused chaos, with Sebastian Vettel chucking the title away as he put it into the wall in his home Grand Prix. And Lewis Hamilton in, but then out, led under the safety car with 10 laps to go, and just about held on for a famous win from 14th place, and which likely won him the championship next season. What a race that was. Still remember my limbs as a Hamilton fan. Number 6, the 2017 Azerbaijan Grand Prix. The race where Baku firmly established itself on the F1 calendar after an early collision between Valtteri Bottas and Kimi Raikkonen set the precedent for the GP, where the leaders clashed under the safety car and debris peppered a track that treated us to a nail-biting close quarter race and stunning finishing, which Daniel Ricciardo won from 10th position, I believe, and Valtteri Bottas, of course, pipping Lance Stroll on the line to claim second place, although it's still an amazing drive for the Williams driver to be on the podium. And if you remember, Fernando Alonso driving his broken car, shattered car home into the pits and somehow making it in a move which I don't think any other driver on the grid would have made. And it just shows the quality of that man. Another quality race, as would be expected, because it's the top 10 races of the decade. Number 5, the 2012 European GP, which was a fine home display from Fernando Alonso in front of a tasty crowd in Valencia, where the Ferrari driver making some incisive overtakes in starting 11th, winning the race, before benefiting from Sebastian Vettel's alternate failures to take his best victory in his own words, and it even featured rare podiums for Kimi Raikkonen and Michael Schumacher back then. It all came down to this. For the 2012 season, Ferrari v Red Bull, Alonso v Vettel, and Sebastian Vettel spun on lap 1, dropping to last place, but he needed 6 to confirm the title, and he romped back to P6, which was the main story in Interlagos, to claim his, third world title. But there were some other stories as well. Michael Schumacher's last race, Kimi Raikkonen's escape road excursion, Force India's Nico Hulkenberg scuppering a genuine opportunity at a race victory and ruining Lewis Hamilton's final mate race at McLaren at the process, not to mention the post-race controversy with revolving Vettel's car that could have seen the title handed back to Alonso. Wow, what a race. Worn out just reading it, let alone watching it. Yeah, that probably maybe higher, but I have gone for some recency bias, which I know you probably won't be happy about, especially older fans. So number 3 is 2019 Brazilian Grand Prix. For those who say there's nothing left to play for after championships has been sealed, show them 2019 at Interlagos, where there wasn't a position on track left unchallenged, and it ended in tears for many of joy and despair in equal measure. This was Formula 1 as we know it. So Max Verstappen won comfortably, but the race exploded after the Ferraris crashed. Alex Albon was in second, Pierre Gasly was in third after a strange decision by Lewis Hamilton to pit, and Hamilton moved past Gasly comfortably, then tried Albon, took him out, allowed Gasly to get back to P2, and Lewis Hamilton just about claimed P3 before he was given a penalty for the incident out against Albon. So Carlos Sainz took his place and got his first podium in F1. Number 2, the 2019 German GP. I don't think you can complain of recency bias for this one. Whew, what a race. It had everything. Even the picture on the screen now is iconic. A Ferrari and a Mercedes both beached in a gravel. Where else do you see that? The weather couldn't make its mind up, with queue confusion over tyres and drivers who were wrestling their machines across the glaciest surface in Germany. But although chaos threatened to reign, it was Max Verstappen who kept his cool and barely made a mistake all race to win this modern classic. And wow, what a race, I still haven't recovered. And number 1, the 2011 Canadian GP. F1's longest ever race, and also one of its most dramatics, as McLaren's Jenson Button overcame a crash with his teammate, a clash with Fernando Alonso, a puncture, a stop-go penalty, and a 2-hour stoppage to win, snatching victory from Sebastian Vettel on his last lap, having been dead last at one point in the GP, 13th place with about 30 laps to go, and Vettel spinning on the last lap. What a race. Went into about midnight in UK time, which is complete madness. Absolute madness. That is it for today's video, guys. Thanks very much for watching. Let me know what you think are the best races in the comments below. I'm sure you'll probably disagree on a few. And yeah, make sure to follow us on Twitter, link in the description below. And our sister channels will be coming up right after I finish blabbering, and I'll finish blabbering right now. Thanks very much for watching. Bye.